Hikosaemon here. So welcome on this June 15th from Father's Day 2014. You are here in Tokyo tonight, although this is of course going to be Japan Hiko News. This is the recorded 5-minute version of all the news that I'm going to be covering tonight. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to check out. So let's go have a look and see what the top news stories of the week were that I found interesting. So boom. This is from the thumbnail contest that you can see going on the for 2.5 Oyajis. This is one of the great entries in that. This is available in my Facebook, which you can go and see a link to within this magazine and below this video, the video information for this, I think. So yeah, one thing, there's been some interesting developments on the Footloose, on the ban on dancing in Japan. And this is where there's been a news story here featured on the Japan Subculture Research Center run by Jake Edelstein about a recent case where apparently an owner of a nightclub arrested for allowing dancing after 1 a.m. Apparently, alcohol establishments that serve alcohol after 1 a.m. you're not allowed to permit dancing after 1 a.m., which is of course silly because that's one of the reasons I came to Japan. There is a law actually going through Parliament right now, which I think I've saved over here. Government has just passed a bill to ease curbs on all nightclub dancing, which is good news. This looks like going through. Apparently, they tried doing a law like this before, but the LDP opposed it because they still think that nightclubs are places that corrupt morals. And to that end, I think there's something I found which I wanted to share with everyone. So let me just load this up. But this is I think nobody could have said it better than of course our good friend Kevin Bacon. And this is it with dancing. This getting rid of this dance ban in Japan. From the oldest times, people danced for a number of reasons. They danced in prayer so that their crops would be plentiful, or so their hunt would be good. They danced to stay physically fit and to show their community spirit, and they danced to celebrate. And that is the dancing that we're talking about. Aren't we told in Psalm 149, praise ye Lord, and sing unto the Lord a new song, let him praise his name in the dance. It was King David, who we read about in Samuel. And what did David do? What did David do? What did David do? David danced before the Lord with all his might, leaping and dancing before the Lord. It's actually, this wasn't a church now, I recall that part. Leaping, dancing. But this is the cool part, right? Okay, this is the cool part. Focus. The cool part is this. Ecclesiastes, who I'm sure was a great guy, you know, he's Jewish, he's Old Testament. Yes, Ecclesiastes assures us that there is a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to laugh and a time to weep, a time to mourn, there is a time to dance. And there was a time for this law, but not anymore. See, this is our time to dance. It is our way of celebrating life. If that's the way it was in the beginning, it's the way it was in the beginning, it's the way it's always been, and it's the way it should be now. And, you know, it's like Kevin Bacon. They should have just called him here and we would have passed this law and we would have been able to dance, and the stupid law outlawing dancing in nightclubs would be gone. But isn't that a great monologue? Although I didn't deliver it very well, but there you go, allowing dancing very soon, so that's an awesome thing. Interesting blog. There's been a lot of news going on these international suicide statistics, which of course Japan has a terrible reputation for, but these statistics have been going around a lot lately. There's a nice summary here on Rocket News, and this is them. First thing is that Japan isn't the suicide capital of the world, in spite of the image that Japan has. Number one, if it was a standalone country, would be Greenland, which, you know, there's hardly any people there, and apparently they have a crazy high rate of suicide there, like 3 times almost the second or third places, which are Lithuania, South Korea, Kazakhstan, Guyana, China. You know, and that's it. Japan's not doing well. Certainly ranked number 10. That's not where you want to be, but it's way below those countries. So it definitely isn't the number one most suicide prone place in the world. The capital isn't Tokyo either. It's Iwate, which is understandable. That's where they're still dealing with the aftermath of the terrible earthquake and tsunami there. And notice that Fukushima isn't there, well, at least not in the top ranking prefectures, but Tokyo is number 25 out of 47. So yeah, there's a reputation known in Japan for suicide by train and so on, which apparently is actually quite rare, partly because the train companies charge the families for the loss of income when they stop the trains for that. And yeah, most people apparently, most people have this idea that they have suicide for, you know, shame or whatever, but no, it's for heartbreak, health reasons. Financial trouble is very common, and this is something where you get into the mob connections and debt in Japan. So it's not, suicide isn't the way that you necessarily understand it. Some great news today. The Abe administration, which has been remarkable. I mean, Abe was spoken Korean to the Korean president. They've gone kind of pro-gay with his wife. They were on a big thing. They're pro-woman. And here we are, pro-Ainu. They're building an Ainu museum, which they want to have ready before the Olympics in East Hokkaido, where I've been to before, specifically for this reason. The government's putting money into preserving and protecting Ainu culture. And, Ainu as the indigenous, the pre-inhabitants of Japan, predating the, it's not, people aren't sure if they're actually connected to the Jomon, to the prehistoric people in Japan. There's some debate over that, but there's no question that they were already in Japan when the current so-called Yamato Japanese came. And this idea that they just inhabit parts of Hokkaido as well. Some Japanese, by the way, do believe that they did come down from Russia, like they were like Kuril people who came down. But no, they were certainly in all over Hokkaido before the modern Japanese came in. Apparently Mount Fuji, by one explanation, is an Ainu name. It doesn't fit, Fuji doesn't fit the kanji that are used to describe the mountain. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and it's good to see them putting money into it and supporting indigenous people, which is a controversial topic, again, within the LDP in particular, because there are conservative groups that don't accept that there are other ethnic groups or that they're a legitimate indigenous group in Japan. And they're very much like the Maori culture of New Zealand, very interesting. Sales tax, they're debating whether to increase the sales tax another 2% to 10%. They're going to decide that within the year. At the same time as they're debating lowering the corporate tax. So, on the one hand, they're trying to increase tax take to look after the elderly and social welfare. On the other hand, they're trying to lower corporate taxes, which makes these tax increases look like they're trying to have consumers fund a lowering of corporate tax, which doesn't make any sense. Another interesting one came up in the Mainichi. Apparently they're looking at, again, to facilitate the right, what they call the right type of immigration, well-to-do foreigners. And in order to foster well-to-do and highly skilled foreigners to come to Japan, they're going to allow highly skilled foreigners to live indefinitely and to bring their family members, apparently extended family as well as their housekeepers and whatnot from overseas, and to sponsor them for visas. So, apparently it's not clear what the criteria would be, but presumably if you're like a company president or something like that and you want to come to Japan, you'd be able to sponsor your elderly parents if you want to take care of them and your foreign housekeeper, which I guess is very good for people, for again, the whole aim of this is to encourage immigration from other parts of Asia and so on. Other interesting stuff, again, more serious discussion about strategically trying to raise the number of foreigners coming into Japan, apparently within 20 years to 10,000 coming and settling in Japan every year. Great picture of the finance minister Aso there. Talking about, apparently he said that when he heard the Japanese have 880 trillion yen in cash in their homes, not in banks or being used, he said, isn't that ridiculous? But of course he's from the LDP, from the generation that actually penalized banks for allowing ATMs to run, or vending machines to run, it is ATMs, cash machines, to run after 5 p.m. or on weekends when people could take their money out because they were so determined to force Japanese into saving money and not spending. So on the final thing I want to talk about, and I'm already over time, but this is cool. So this with this Oculus Rift, this VR set coming out, and of course it's very interesting seeing from the game news and so on all the information that's coming out around that, and all the kind of games and how it's going to have low latency and it's going to be super cool. But the thing which I find super cool actually, which I hadn't considered, was this. There is this apparently. Bloomberg has designed a virtual trading terminal using Oculus, which is that basically instead of having like 8 physical screens, or in this case, I can see 15, they can have them virtually. And I was just thinking, if you could get really, really high resolution screens in front of your eyes, exactly why I've got 3 monitors in front of me right now. And this is where you start getting into the Tom Cruise movie, the future one with the fingers and moving the screens around in virtual air and stuff like that. But why would you need monitors? You could have virtual monitors, and if you could have them in high enough resolution, you could actually have a whole wall of different monitors in front of you, and that would be cool. You just put on your Oculus Rifts and not need monitors, and I think that is awesome. So that's kind of something that's got my brain going a little bit this week, and I thought was awesome. This is way too long, but there's lots of stuff to talk about this week. So that is it. I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to do my Japanese version of this very soon, and then we'll get into the regular talk. So if you want to talk about this stuff with me, come join me every Sunday night, 11 p.m. live for 1 hour, and enjoy this, and I'll see you later. Peace.